Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Higher Caliber. It's our first video episode. Today it's me and Jerrod.
What up, y'all?
Thanks for coming on, Jerrod, to the temporary beat laboratory.
Yeah.
It's nice outside, so we're going to utilize the outdoors.
It's nice out here, man.
So let's catch up. It's been a while.
It's been a minute.
It's been a long while. And it's not, I think it's just because it's summertime.
Yeah.
You know,
we got stuff going on like everybody else.
Kids.
Metal concerts.
Yeah. Work.
Yeah.
It's been crazy, but it's been a good summer. But I think I'm ready to get back into the
The what?
I meant to say podcast game.
So, what did you think of incarceration?
I had a great time.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool that those caliber of bands are so close, like basically in our backyard.
Yeah. Couple miles away.
At first, I think what the lineup released, March or April of this year?
Isn't it like February?
Maybe it was February. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was early. And to be honest with you, I was a little disappointed at first.
At the lineup.
You know, because like there's a few bands that I really want to see, like before I die, I guess. Mm-hmm. But all in all, it was a great concert. I think you could put anybody up there and we'd have a freaking awesome time.
Yeah. When Lamb of God shows up in your backyard and you don't go, it's kind of
and that's the thing. I love Lamb of God. and we saw him last year. Yeah. And that was my first time in year, second or third time?
Third time. Well, this was my third time.
Right. So last year would have been your second time.
Yeah.
But typically at those concerts, those bands don't come back the next year. Right.
Yeah. That was a nice treat.
But yeah, I mean, even though I just saw him a year ago, I was freaking stoked because I freaking love Lamb of God.
Yeah.
And they put on a hell of a show.
It's weird to see him in the daytime though. It's almost like a war crime or something. I don't know. It just seems weird that they're not.
They should be headlining, you mean?
Yeah. But when you have all those bands, that's kind of.
Let me put it to you. Let me just throw this on here. So perspective anyway, right? Mm-hmm. So we think that they should headline, right? But by the time the headliners are on, we're 3, 4, 6, 7 sheets to the wind.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say 3 drinks. I'm like, oh, brother. Oh, brother. Yeah.
You know, hopefully you ate some tacos and came out of your blackout and you remember the headliner. But
yeah. Pantera was sick. Speaking of that.
Pantera was sick. They put on a good show.
And I still stick to my people like they're not Pantera anymore. That's true. But when the lead singer is still the same, it's like it's hearing the same music.
That definitely matters.
Yeah.
You know, not that the lead singer is everything by any means, but
yeah, you know,
it matters.
Right.
Unless it's, I mean, you have like Killswitch Engage, right?
Yeah. But that's like that was accepted because it's the original lead singer.
Yeah.
Well, you mean when he switched the first time?
How many people fell in love with Killswitch Engage
after
when it was Howard?
A lot.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not saying
I mean, they were blowing up, but nothing like Howard.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. That's the rare, one of the rare times.
Yeah, it can be okay, I guess. But yeah, Ink was awesome.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
It's getting too crowded. But people say there was the same amount of people last year. I'm like, was it though? I feel like there was more people participating this year.
I bet they oversell that place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know
they
if they
oversell hotels. They got to oversell.
And airplanes.
Yeah.
You know? Now, granted, you can't really fit more people on an airplane than you can fit on an airplane. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you can definitely let more people in a gate to see a concert. But still, I don't think it's at the level as some of these other. I've never been to any other crazy music festivals, but you see like pictures or video and they look huge.
Right.
Huge.
But almost like not fun huge. Like not
exactly. Like I like it that we for any of you that haven't been to Incarceration, I like that there's kind of I call it our headquarters, you know, on the hill, and we can walk back and chill and, you know, drink, or just, if there's a band that we don't really want to be up there for, we can just kind of hang out. But then when that band comes on that we want to see, we can get pretty dang close.
Right.
You know,
if you try hard enough.
Well, yeah,
it's not hard for you.
No, you just got to push people out of the way and get in the pit. So I'm going to the pit, you know? But I like that aspect. I feel like at some concerts, to even be anywhere near, you probably have to stay there all day.
Right. But at some concerts,
but I don't know.
At some
That's
concerts,
just my assumption.
At some concerts, they're so close that you are already as close as we would be, if that makes sense. Like, you're jam packed like sardines, like especially indoor concerts where you're just shoved in, and like, I don't like that. I like to be able to roam.
Yeah.
Like break away. Like, listen, okay, I've had enough. I need to get back to the blanket.
Listen, when we do a lot of walking.
Yeah.
My Fitbit was screaming.
What was it? I think, was it Sunday or Saturday? Sunday, I was like 10 and a half miles.
Yeah. We were like 10 and a half miles of walking, which is crazy.
A couple of that was just getting back to the vehicle, but
yeah, but we didn't put down miles to get back to the vehicle.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, that's maybe true. A half a mile.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know, but anyway, it was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I think more people should go. I think people have kind of this.
They're scared.
There's an apprehension there, definitely. You think of a metal show, and you're like, I'm gonna die. You know?
Don't people get beat up?
Like
there?
People are gonna be up. Like, seriously? Now, I'm not a cop. There's a lot of cops there, but I've never seen a fight.
No, I mean, they happen, but
I mean, yeah. And there's drunks there. You got to deal with some drunks, but all in all, like, everybody's cool. Like, how many times were we down in the pit? Like,
you more than me, but or at least next to the pit.
I don't know. I don't know, buddy.
Yeah.
But if you fall down, they pick you right back up. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody's got each other's backs. I think it's
metal people come from all walks of life.
Definitely.
So it's definitely not one of those where you have to be a certain type of person.
No.
And
I've seen people there that I thought I would never see at a metal show. Well, and you have to, these big bands these headliners that are coming out. I mean, Limp Bizkit, right?
Yeah.
I grew up with Limp Bizkit and I was pretty excited about that, even though Fred Durst needs to lose that wig.
Yeah.
That's pretty creepy. But
that's the thing about, I say this all the time. People like Limp Bizkit or Kid Rock.
Yeah.
People are like, I don't really want to see them. And then as soon as ball, the bang, and people are like losing their minds. It's like, you want to see them once, like at least be there while they're playing.
You got to.
You don't have to be up front.
It's a whole different experience. Jamming in the car is cool, but to be there and watch it is something else, you know?
And I realized being there and watching it is something different, but I kind of get upset when people just want to stare at the screen the whole time. It's like, bro, just watch MTV reruns. I get it's a different feel when it's live and there's like actual bass, but some people just want to read books and watch the screen the whole time.
I don't mind the people that want to do that per se. You know,
no, not that I hate them. I'm just saying it's not for me.
You know what? If that's their way of, chilling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then they get on Facebook and be like, survive the weekend. I bet you did.
Well, that's the same people that posted they're adulting today.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. Hey, you know what? You turned 18. You're adulting forever now.
All right.
# real world shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not supposed to cuss today. Anyway.
You already dropped the F-bomb. So.
Did I?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Oh, I was going to tell you something about concerts and maybe life in general, but a lot of concerts. The people that really grind my gears are the people that are at the concert and they're close, right? And this is what they're doing, right? They're on their phones recording the whole thing.
Yep.
Standing there. You know what I mean?
I like to take pictures of us having fun.
I do too. And I don't mind a quick video, 30-second video.
Yeah.
But if you're going to record the whole set, you're not going to go back and watch that.
Right. It's like watching your firework videos. You don't care. Nobody cares.
and you're just ruining it for everybody else.
Right.
You know, you're blocking the view.
Yeah.
Live in the moment.
Right.
At least that's my feelings.
Before we stop talking about incarceration, okay, I lost a chunk of my nose. Still missing.
It looks good.
It looks okay.
I'm surprised you're doing a video podcast right now because
I was nervous about it.
really? I don't think you can see it.
Well,
It doesn't look that bad.
Well, for a week, all I could see was cartilage. So
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
but I was just standing there and somebody fell on my head. So
Crowd surfing is not a crime, by the way.
No, but before we stop talking about ink, let's just put out a public service announcement that you don't take babies to metal shows.
Oh, definitely.
And
thank you for saying that.
Unless on the rare circumstance you're like a kid with a terminal illness or like a disability, or you're like 100 pounds, don't crowd surf a wheelchair. Just don't. One time's okay.
I was in the pit and I saw a guy, he had to be at least 300 pounds in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
You know, definitely disabled. And they crowd surfed him. The first time I was like, you know what? That's pretty.
Yeah, you're in the spirit. Like,
that's pretty cool.
We're we're all looking out for each other.
By the third or fourth time that dude came over my head, I was done. Like, yeah, that's inherently dangerous.
Yeah. And he got dumped, right?
He definitely fell out of that wheelchair. You know,
because they had the wheelchair, the wheels, and then the rest of the chair went. Was that? I didn't see it.
He went up and then he just went straight down. And all I saw was wheels in the skyline. I'm like, oh no.
Maybe it's just a coincidence.
But he wrote it out, man. You know,
nice pun.
I didn't mean to do that.
This year was the first year I've seen actual infants and infant carriers come in.
Like a chest carrier.
Yeah. How selfish can you be to bring your baby in there? I'll die on that hill any day.
Definitely. I mean, you've got
like, oh, is your kid ruining your weekend and your life?
Yeah.
And then you think, I'm sure there were people there praising her, like, you do you, mama.
Oh, yeah.
You do you, mama bear. It's like, this kid can't even walk.
Yeah.
And then some of the kids didn't even have earmuffs on.
Yeah. And it's freaking loud.
Loud, hot. There's drunk, crazy people.
Well, yeah, there's no shade at that place.
Right.
It's loud. There's drunks. Not like I said, everybody's pretty chill, but
yeah,
you know,
it wasn't like a NASCAR tailgate.
Yeah, definitely. It wasn't people like hitting walls or nothing, you know. Race Hill, Priest Hill. But yeah, there is definitely some what the Walmart moments there. Yeah. I guess you would call them. But all in all, you know, for us that don't bring our kids there,
right?
They have a good time.
And there's people that bring younger kids that either stay with them the whole time and let them enjoy the show. But then you had missing kids.
Oh yeah. There's missing kids after like,
hey, 11-year-old, go take your 10-year-old sister and go get in the pit. And then everybody has to look for them all of a sudden.
And a lot of kids were crowd surfing, man.
Yeah.
You know, and
well, I picked up a girl that was probably 6 years old.
Yeah.
Right before I got smashed in the face. Like, why?
Yeah, I don't know. There's just too much room for error. Like, I'm all about letting your kids.
Yeah. But the whole thing's inherently dangerous. I mean, there's people that are paralyzed from crowd surfing.
Definitely.
So why are you entrusting hundreds of drunk people to take care of your kid and get them to the...
I don't know if you noticed, but I don't crowd surf.
No, I get forcefully crowd surfed by you.
Yeah. They call me the launch pad now because I put a lot of people up.
Yeah.
But it's a good time.
It is. I just wish people weren't so silly.
And if you want to, I'm going to put this out here. If anybody wants to experience incarceration with a safe group of people, you know, that know what they're doing, you guys can come hang out with us. You just have to give us a ride home. That's it.
And be sober when you're doing it.
Yeah, definitely be sober because we won't be.
I'm glad I added that because a lot of people would take us up on that. I'll drive you home.
I'll drive you home. I'll be good.
So yeah, it was a good time. So segue, while we were enjoying our weekend, you posted something on Facebook that said Brotherhood isn't dead.
I did.
What did you mean by that?
There's just sometimes, so I've been a fireman for a long time, and sometimes you get down about, quote unquote, the Brotherhood or even your job in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I've never had a real job per se, like riding a desk 9 to 5, but definitely doing the types of things that we do, living with the people that you work with, you develop a brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure it was like that in the military.
Yeah, for sure.
But sometimes, and I've talked about this before, how the fire service is evolving.
Yeah.
Or I don't even know if you want to call it evolving. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it's evolving. Sometimes you feel like it's going backwards. But
yeah, not to cut you off, but I think that's probably how everybody probably thinks.
I think
like before us and before them.
Us, the salty old guys were like, those young, I'm not going to cuss, but
yeah,
those young dudes have no idea. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably just a big circle.
Right.
And I'm living another chapter of that evolution. But,
right.
You cherish the brotherhood, the bond you have with the people that you work with. And then sometimes it feels, I guess in this next chapter, you feel like these young kids don't get it, or maybe people are so burned out. Like it's just kind of disheartening, but sometimes when a brother helps another brother out, it kind of relights that spark, I guess. Like, hey, this still exists.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? I mean,
first of all, I think the brotherhood is the most important thing about the job. Like, to its core, it's the most important thing. It's true for the fire service. I'm sure it's true for law enforcement, the military. That's the first thing that you have to work on, because you don't just get into a brotherhood by being there. Right.
Yes, I agree with that.
You have to, it's not about breaking your back for people. It's about proving to other people that you're willing to go out of your way, and it's reciprocating.
Right.
But just being there doesn't necessarily make you a brother.
Oh, definitely.
And I honestly think without it, we couldn't do all the amazing stuff we do. If you go there and you don't consider yourself a brother, or it's just a job to you or whatever, you're not going to do the things you would normally, I should say, if you're there for just a job, you're not going to make risks or do things because it's the right thing to do. You just want to get a paycheck.
Right.
So all this bravery, if you talk to any old fireman or veteran, they don't talk about people they killed or fires they slain. They talk about the people they were in with.
Oh, definitely.
And that's the most important thing to them. So I think cultivating the brotherhood, and I honestly think that's the reason most people are depressed, because it's highly sought after. Maybe they can't put a name to it.
Yeah. No, I get that.
But that's what it is. It's the most important thing. And that's when you lose that, or you don't try to build that, then you're fishing in the dark.
Well, it's the people that, on those bad calls that are with you. And it's the people that you come back to after. It doesn't have to be the bad calls, but it's it's the late nights and the just being around each other.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean you can't get into an argument,
Definitely.
Like us, we get into an argument, but being in an actual brotherhood means you have your tiff and that's it. Like, right. You make up at the end of the day.
Then it's done and over with.
Yeah.
Right.
It's about not having an ego so much. Everybody has a little bit of an ego, but to be able to laugh things off and just the culture of being hyper competitive and things like that just make everybody better.
Definitely.
Like, oh, I can do more pull-ups than you. Oh, everybody's doing pull-ups. Like everybody is
right.
Everybody's better.
Me and me and Jeff, when I was getting a tattoo the other day, we're kind of talking about that, and I didn't really go into it. I can't remember exactly what we were talking about something, and he kind of mentioned, people being kind of cocky about their job or whatever, or, why would it even matter? If you're so good at this, or who cares, and I don't think Jeff has ever experienced that. And I didn't want to tell him that he was wrong, because I think in essence he was right, but yeah, on that, you're right. On that side, there is some cockiness, and is kind of the, not necessarily being the alpha, but being competitive.
I think there's room for it in our environment, not necessarily he was probably referring to like the guy that shows up and tells everybody he's a fireman,
right?
That's around people that aren't firemen,
right.
But I think there should be an environment for
in our bubble.
Yeah,
I think it makes sense. And I don't, like the other day I was told by a coworker that I'm a good medic, but I'm arrogant and cocky, and that overshadows every good thing I've ever done. So, and I think that makes sense,
right,
with what you just said, because if somebody's going to be doing something, in your mind, they're going to do it too.
Right.
And I think, subconsciously, without me even thinking that's kind of what I want to happen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I want to bring people up.
Yeah.
I mean, I am a douche sometimes. Don't get me wrong, but collectively and ultimately, it's all about the team,
right,
and the mission, right? And you try to bring your brothers or your teammates up.
Yeah.
You don't want to drag them down.
Right.
I'm probably not the best at that, but I think that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. So
I'm glad you said that, because that makes
it's coming full circle.
Yeah, it actually makes sense now.
Well, it's funny because, there's people that take pride in being really good medics, and people are just like, we get it, you're a medic, but it's like, we'll just do better, and then we'll both be better. Like, you can hate me.
Yeah.
Not hate you, but it's like,
yeah,
maybe there's some insecurities in yourself,
Definitely.
Everybody's better at something than others,
You're damn straight.
But if you're sarcastically going to be a good medic, then the patient wins, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that made a lot of sense.
What do you how long do you think it takes to be in said brotherhood? Or like, what do you think the steps are?
I don't necessarily know that there's a timeline.
But I don't think it should be treated like a club.
No.
But in some level it is. When somebody shows up and they're new, you're like, well, what do you have to offer at some point?
Yeah.
Not like a tribe, but
and I think I think it's almost the experiences, and I don't think you can put it on you have to have X, Y, and Z to happen. But like,
you're right though.
And I can't tell you the exact day somebody made it into the Brotherhood. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, I can definitely tell that, like, say you have a new guy that comes on and, whatever, you don't know him, and they're usually kind of in a shell, the people that come right out and are just like, run their mouths, probably kind of annoying. It might take a little bit longer to get into the Brotherhood. Who knows? But if they're productive to the team, if you experience I don't want to call them crazy calls, because our run of the mill calls calls for service could be somebody else's crazy calls. I don't know. It's all about perspective. But I think once you get some of those situations under your belt, because we all have those situations where we didn't think something was a big deal, and we look back at it and like, man, that was freaking wild.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't realize it, but I think just those experiences,
and I think like what you're getting at is what I was talking about earlier. That's why the brotherhood, as we call it, is so important, because you think about who you're with when it happened, not so much like what happened.
Oh, definitely.
And then you all just like, oh, that was kind of weird. Right. But if that same thing happened and you're with a bunch of strangers, you'd be freaking out. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
That's why it's the most important thing. I really think it is.
Right. I think so too.
And I don't think, kind of going along with what you were saying, like it doesn't just, there's not one set time where like, okay, it's been a year, you're in the brotherhood now.
Yeah. You're in the brotherhood.
I think it's just responding to how people react. It doesn't necessarily mean they have to do really, really, really good.
Right.
And they're going to do it. It's when something bad happens to them, how are they going to respond?
Right. How do they respond?
Yeah. And not necessarily call wise, but like, how can you handle tough conditions, or, how are you going to, like, if you're going to lie about people and, drop dimes on people,
right,
then you're probably on your way out.
Right.
You should still be virtuous, but
yeah, yeah. How do you deal with people that don't want to be brothers or in the brotherhood?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
You've been doing this longer than me. I don't know.
It's hard to say that you just well, I've been in a lot of experiences where, I would say the brothers weren't being brothers, at certain points in time. And you kind of have to be professional, because we are dealing with the public and people's lives and whatnot. Right. And
their livelihood.
All of that has to go by the wayside on an emergency.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to.
Yeah.
But there's still that, there's a fly. Perks of doing this stuff outside.
Outdoors too.
Anyway, but like I've been on fires and stuff, and there's definitely that thought in the back of your head, like, if you get into some stuff, some sketchy situations, they're your backup or your safety.
Right.
And that's sometimes not a good feeling.
Right. Yeah. And that goes back to, if you're there just to be there, and you're going to alienate yourself from people, you're not going to go the extra mile for your guys.
Right.
And that could potentially lead to the public being in danger, because you want to be an individual all by yourself.
And the thing that I don't understand is some of these people that act out or do this, that are in it for themselves or in it for the wrong reasons, that are doing stuff intentionally to hurt the brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
How do you show up at work every day?
Right.
How do you bring yourself to work? I mean, seriously, like,
and I think part of that is people get disgruntled and they're like, okay, I've had enough of this brotherhood talk. You guys aren't a gang.
Right.
Just relax. I'm going to do what I got to do.
Right.
And I think that's an important distinction. Like, it's not a gang. It's not like he said something bad to me, everybody, you should be mean to him. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's kind of a misuse of.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because we all have spats.
Unless it's warranted, obviously.
Right.
But
everything should be corrected. You shouldn't let things fester.
Right.
I think at least in all of the spats or whatever I've had in my career, they've all been remedied.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that was a conversation or that was time or that was whatever,
Yeah. And I think that's how that you actually have a true brother.
I think so.
Like, if we get into it, not just me and you, but like there's guys I know that if we got into it and we were yelling at each other, things went sideways, in the back of both of our minds, we would know, like, if something went down, then it would be fine. Like,
right.
We'd be fine.
Right.
We'd see each other the next day and be like, what's up, bro?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
That's how you know.
And I think, ultimately, because I asked you how to deal with these people, and I think having a conversation is the key.
Not being a gatekeeper probably is
right.
Good.
Well, I saw way too many times people would get really clicked up in their clicks, when something went on, and then they'd go and they'd talk behind people's backs and things would just fester.
Yeah.
And one of the former fire chiefs I worked for, people would do that to him. He would be blind. I felt that he was blindsided with stuff. And then when we got another chief, and I said, hey, look, because I was the union president at the time, and I said, hey, if anything goes down, or if there's any problems, we'll talk. We're going to talk about it, because I don't think that it's fair to you for people to be talking behind your back if there's a problem. I don't want you to be blindsided. So we're going to talk about things and we'll work through them. I don't know that happened. But at least I was trying to be forthcoming and
right.
Right. So.
Yeah. I like I said earlier, I think it really does lead to a big mental health issue, because the more and more, I talk to my old Army buddies or what have you, you can't really identify the problem of why you're kind of depressed when you get out of the Army. Or for the people that can't, I honestly think it's not having the Brotherhood anymore. When you come home, everything's fine.
Right.
But you realize you're missing something, but you don't want to be one of those guys that are like, I can't be happy unless my friends are around. It's not really that. It's just knowing that there's people that would
some type of support system.
Yeah. People
I think
that would.
Dustin really hit on that on our, what was it? St.
Patty's Day.
Yeah. He was talking about cultivating a support system and
cultivating.
Yeah. He likes that word.
Yeah. It's a buzzword, but, even outside of all this, for the people that aren't in public service or military, it's super important to find a way to do it. Not be like, hey guys, you want to be in my Brotherhood? Because that's how gangs get started. But just finding people that actually care about you,
No, I think that's 100% true. And I really wish I had, I hope that a lot of this translates into, I'm going to call them normal jobs, because it is what it is. But I hope some of this translates into that, because, I feel like I don't have those life experiences for them. Not that I'm what do I want to call it? A therapist. Tell you how to live your life and deal with your problems.
Yeah.
But I hope they find something in this and can relate, I guess is what I'm saying. So.
Yeah. And that's why, honestly, I think some of the trainings that we need to do are more of a crew relation type deal.
You mean
instead of like
training at work?
Yeah. Instead of, even training at work, like instead of being like, all right, you can climb to the top of the ladder next, like things where you actually work together and build that camaraderie with one another.
Like playing Call of Duty and stuff?
Yeah.
Dude, honestly, you want some team building exercises.
I'm advocating for Call of Duty at work.
I mean, it's not a bad idea.
So when your wife's like, did you do any calls any day? I've been called to duty. Okay.
I've been deployed for 8.5 hours.
I'm on my third deployment.
It's probably not going to go over well.
They don't watch it. Oh, you mean the trying to do it?
I don't know. Maybe either. I don't know. We could try it though.
Yeah. And also, I think I've talked about this a bunch, but when we were growing up, everybody that worked with Dad was at the house constantly. And we all called them uncles. And it was just like a whole.
Yeah.
But, the volunteer side is almost non-existent anymore. So I don't know if that has a lot to do with it or not.
It's because dad is just full of
age,
hope and joy. And, but no, you're right. I mean, there were a lot of people. I occasionally have people over, but it's not like the Center household,
right?
Papa Center having bonfires, boat gas and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know if he had a master plan to cultivate brotherhood early on, or he just needed people to drink with, but I
guess we'll never know.
Yeah.
We'll ask him someday what his master plan was, or if that was just hanging around.
Yeah. So the brotherhood isn't dead.
No.
Is it?
No, I think not. And like I said, it's all about, again and again, it's all about your perspective.
Yeah.
And I think you need to find,
I mean, a bunch of people that happen to be firemen liked your post, so I figured people deserved an explanation.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get it back? Or I mean, it's not dead, but it's hurting.
It's hurting, but like I said, it's all about your perspective, and I think, also maybe if you think that it's in a decline or it's hurting or whatever, don't wait for somebody else to change that. Maybe you should be proactive and,
yeah, that's what I was going to say. You
put some fuel on that brotherhood. You know what I mean?
Put some fuel on this brotherhood. It's just like any other relationship. If you don't put anything into it, you're not going to get anything out of it.
You have to be a contributing, factor to that for it to work, I think.
Yeah. And
brotherhood should not be served up on a silver platter.
Exactly. And it's not about breaking your back until somebody finally accepts you.
No, it's not,
It's just knowing that it's going to reciprocate, but at the same time, it's not doing things knowing you're going to get something in return. Sometimes it's just most of the times it's doing them to do them. That's why it's a brotherhood, not
just doing the right thing.
Yeah. It's not an exchange of services, What do you think about getting some like old school fire chiefs on here to talk about this kind of stuff?
I think that would be cool. Probably have a few in mind that might come on.
Yeah.
And we can just talk about whatever, we can talk about, leader. I think leadership is a big one.
Yeah.
I was in a fire officer class a few months ago, and I asked my instructor, I said, we're going over all this stuff and it all makes sense, but why do some people, who obviously had this class before, do none of this?
What do you say?
They couldn't answer.
Really?
They were like, I don't know.
Well, I guess it's
they
like
know it
anything
exists.
else.
They know it's a thing.
Right.
But it's like,
well, they want the title.
Yeah.
And then they want to do what they were going to do anyway.
Right. I don't know. It's kind of baffling. And I can't say I could say what I would want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do those things that are in the textbook, black and white. I've never been in that position.
Right.
But it's kind of crazy. I'm sure there's definitely other influences and problems other than what's in a textbook.
Mm-hmm.
I
think the best leaders are the people that their peers encourage them to be leaders, and not the people that hit the ground running and just want to be a leader. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I said, I do all those, I'm not going to say crazy things, but I do these things in hopes that these other people want to do the same as me or be better or whatever, I don't know. I apparently have to figure out a different way to do that, but
yeah. And that's the thing.
But it's not going to work for everybody. Just like how people learn differently than others,
Yeah. And I think where you're at in your career, it's imperative for you to get as much knowledge from the people that are leaving to get it to the people that are coming in.
Yeah.
You know, because I think that's really what we're facing is that gap. Everybody's retiring.
Yep.
And it's just like, you deal with it now.
Right.
Kind of thing. Not everybody.
Well, and I don't know. And I want to be that vessel that transfers that knowledge, you know, and that's why I felt kind of stagnant at my last job.
Yeah.
Is because I was there for a while and I felt like I had a good grasp on the inner workings of that place. And there was really no room for advancement.
Right.
You know, there wasn't that opportunity to do that. And I feel like I should and am able to do that.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like you work so hard to know what you're doing or make it seem like you know what you're doing to the point where people think you're unteachable? Like people aren't willing to offer up advice that actually might help you because they think that you know everything now. You know what I mean? Like, well, he knows this stuff. I don't need to tell him.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Yes, because I kind of had a difficult time with that. At my new job, I was a probie. You know, I was the new guy, but I had a lot of experience under my belt. And I think it kind of was a two-way street. Like they didn't want to drown me in the basics, we'll call them, right? Like, oh, he already knows this. And I didn't want to open my mouth and say, why are we doing it this way?
Yeah.
You know, I tried to be a sponge, but I also felt that I needed a lot of those basics just so I was on the same page with everybody.
Yeah.
You know, or some explanations. Hey, we do it this way because of this. I'm a person that likes to know why things. I'm like the 4-year-old that says why, you know, and I don't like to be like that, but in my mind, I want to know why it's this way or that way.
Right.
You know, and I think,
well, how can you lead if you can't explain?
Right. And I think a good leader should explain why we do X, Y, and Z, you know, some justification.
Yeah.
You know,
even if it's something you don't agree with, you should know that somebody thought this was a good idea at some point, not just because.
Right.
You know,
because if there's no explanation, then if you have an idea of doing the same, accomplishing the same task, but in a different way or a more efficient way in your mind, you know, they might be receptive and they might not, you know, but it's kind of hard to be put in that predicament, especially as a new guy.
Yeah.
That might have a clue, you know?
Yeah.
So
if you crack open any leadership book, that's the biggest thing is knowing the why, you know,
definitely
from chief, CEO, whatever, down to the lowest guy, then they know
right
why they're doing it.
Right. Not just because you were told to, but
right.
Hey, this is the theory and the reasons behind
just
this.
Because you're told to part comes into play when you want to complain. You know, it's like, it doesn't mean that everybody's uppity. Everybody has to be uppity. Like, I don't want to do this because no, it just means here's the why, you know, we'll talk about it later, but do it. Do it now.
Well, there's definitely a time and place. I mean,
yeah,
you know, that's definitely
it's not to be
in our job. That's definitely a training thing or a back of the station thing. It's not on a fire scene. Well, why are we doing it this way? You know, no,
it's like having your day in court.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
You just shut up and you do the job, you know, as long as the task is completed, then safely, then it doesn't matter why at that time.
Right.
I feel. Yeah.
Do you think you've learned more from bad leadership, knowing what not to do, or good leadership?
Have I learned more? I don't know that I've necessarily learned more from one or the other. I've definitely learned from both.
Mm-hmm.
You can definitely pinpoint the things that you like and the things that work and the things that you dislike. I don't know if you would say that you've learned more from the bad things just because you tend to dwell on those things.
Good point.
And they're more in your mind. But
who's been your biggest mentor so far?
I have a few people.
Shout them out.
Chief Nice Wonder was a great leader in my mind. That I worked for several years. He taught an officer class, which I thought was really good. I've never worked for him, but Chief Ott from Akron Fire, he's retired now. Like I said, never worked for him, but I spent a lot of time with him. He's been very helpful. And these people are very well respected in the fire service. And they've done a lot of good things. So, I would say those people, chief wise, and even, the officers that I worked with for years and years, Captain Green, good dude. He showed me a lot of stuff, but I've also worked for a lot of bad people too.
Right.
Yeah. And I think, there's definitely a difference in just not liking the way somebody does something or bad leadership. And I guess I've seen both, but I guess I've seen the two extremes. I've seen really good and really bad. But I think you can learn either way.
Yeah. Preferably from the good, but
hopefully from the good, but I guess you learn lessons from either, so.
What are some of the character traits? I didn't want to cut you off earlier, like about Ott and Nice Wonder as chiefs that you admire about them?
I think that they were fair. I think that their communication skills were very good. They were very good at explaining things, very good at telling you what their expectations were.
Yeah, that's
not
a big
necessarily how you were going to do something, but hey, we need to accomplish this task and go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they treated people with the respect. And they still do. I'm not saying they did, but
it stopped.
Treating your employees as real people, and dealing with, their lives other than the fire department, kind of being your dad, so to speak.
Yeah.
Being there for you.
Your fire daddy.
Yeah. Fire dads. But and it always seemed like they were always involved. Like they were always trying to learn new things too, and passing that stuff down, being progressive.
Yeah.
And not just being, stuck in the 80s or however they used to do it.
Right.
Honestly, all of those qualities that we talked about on our Good Dude episode, that also plays into being a good leader. You have to be a good dude or dudette, I guess. I don't want to discriminate, but you have to do all of those things.
Yeah, that's the foundation.
You have to have a good foundation to be a good leader.
Yeah. People have to respect you before you put the rank.
Definitely.
Put the rank on.
These people should look up to you being the same. If they're both firemen.
Yeah.
On the same level, those people should still look up to you.
Yeah. And that's why I think the people that get encouraged to be leaders are better than the people that pick it themselves. Because they've already proven themselves amongst their peers,
Right.
Because let's be honest, anybody can go take a class.
Yeah, you're right. They can. But, if you have some of those natural abilities or personalities, I think you can.
Or maybe recognizing you don't have it.
Yeah.
That could be beneficial for a lot of people around you.
Yeah. I knew another guy that was one of my instructors, and I knew him from a long time ago. And I think he had those qualities. He's a chief now. And when he was a lieutenant or a fireman before, he was totally different. He was a good fireman. He was, a good officer. But I think once he started going up the ranks, he learned how to deal with people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was kind of funny because I hadn't seen him for like 10 years, and he's totally not flipped, but you can tell. And he will even tell you that I used to be the one getting in dudes' faces and telling them this, that, and whatever. But, now he knows that he needs to, sit back and he's got a process for everything. He's got, how to deal with people and how to achieve goals and solutions without shaking your fist and yelling at them.
Yeah. That also goes back to the Brotherhood thing, because I've seen both sides where you punish the guy or you punish people around their peers and you go, see him, don't be like him. That kind of mentality.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you cultivate no, you guys should work together. You're brothers. Fix him. I don't want to fix him. You fix him.
Right.
And then that bond goes, then your whole house is a family at that point.
Right.
And not just who's competing to be, the most liked.
Right. Yeah.
Then that's just Britney Spears toxic all over,
Speaking of Britney Spears, have you seen any of this like controversy, like that she's missing or not real?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, they told us aliens are real and nobody cares. So
how long did they hide them? You know what I mean? Like
forever.
Can you really trust?
See, the problem is,
I don't know.
The problem is 90% of it's not real. And so when the 10% is, they're just like, okay, guys.
You sure about that?
Are you sure about that?
I don't know. Where was I going with this? I questioned the moon landing.
Don't get me started, dude. It's been an hour.
I'm not trying to get into Alex Jones stuff, but
that's where I live.
I know, but
I tell people all the time, yes, we landed on the moon because you saw it on the TV when you were a kid. So
I don't know.
You're going to get me. You're going to get us blacklisted. And I've been, the podcast has been published for like a year, and now it's going to be like higher caliber conspiracy podcast.
We're on a list. We're already on a list. Believe me.
I'm on a couple.
Are we done talking about Brotherhood leadership for now?
Yeah.
Okay. I do want to ask you a question.
Okay.
So you probably haven't experienced this yet because your kids are younger than mine.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to know your thoughts on this. So the other day, I bought the kids like MP3 players, right?
Yeah.
And then so they can listen to music, because I think music, like, we listen to music. Music is cool. I like that my kids like to listen to music, So they have these little MP3 players, and they're these little, I guess they're Android devices, whatever. Well, Cole, my 8-year-old, somehow gets on the internet with it. I guess I didn't check these things out very good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you saw he was on Amazon.
I was going to say, what are you doing on Amazon, buddy?
He's got Chrome, and I'm like, what the crap? Now, I don't want my kids to be on the internet because
you gave it to them.
I know. I guess I didn't know that I did, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at what point? I mean, I don't want to shelter my kids.
Right.
But I also don't think they need to be, trolling on TikTok.
Right.
At 8 years old. I mean, I feel kind of bad, but I wiped those things. I don't feel real bad.
Yeah, they don't need the internet.
They don't need it. But I mean, like, at what point
we had to work to get on the internet, and we had to fight with each other to get on it.
Tell me about it.
Get off the phone.
I mean, you know, I don't even know.
It makes me feel like I kind of hate it because one, everybody has it. So it's like, you're going to be the weird dad.
Right.
But the other thing is kids cannot get a break as it is.
Right.
I think these are the years where they don't live in social media. Like Cole's 8.
Yeah.
He doesn't live in social media. I think we should keep it that way as long as possible.
Yeah.
When you can come home from school and be home and not in the same, because kids, even us, we are living in the same BS constantly.
Yeah.
And kids at school, they get bullied and stuff like that. They come home and they're still dealing with it.
Yeah.
You know,
that's terrible.
It is.
I mean, like I said, I don't want to shelter my kids.
I don't even need Google Chrome on my phone.
Right. Because we have iPhones, so it's Safari. But anyway,
you know what I mean?
I know. It's just kind of baffling to me. And I, you know, as a parent, I don't know.
But it's hard. Like, you don't need all this technology. Dad, you just did a podcast.
Well, that's hard too, you know?
Right.
You can't watch YouTube. But Dad, you're on YouTube.
I need to fix my mower. Shut up.
Yeah, exactly right. You have a podcast on YouTube.
I'm thinking about, I don't know.
Hey, for anybody that doesn't know, this podcast is also on video. Go to our YouTube channel.
Type in Higher Caliber Podcast.
Caliber. Hit the bell.
And the like.
And the like and share.
Please. What was I saying?
I don't know. I don't know. It's hard.
Oh,
because,
yeah.
Now, I'm not going to knock on the homeschooled kids.
Don't
again,
do that. Don't do that.
But like you know what somebody that's been sheltered their whole life that don't have those experiences, like it's got to be hard for them.
Yeah. But now everybody is the internet. So
what do you mean?
So the kid at home that's on TikTok compared to the kid that's not paying attention in school that has TikTok.
Are they though? I mean,
so.
I think there's got to be different levels of, you know, now, like I remember growing up, and I don't know if it's still this way today. I don't know if anybody's doing it, but like I remember growing up and some of my friends did not have TVs at home.
Mm-hmm. That was the craziest thing ever.
Now, granted, I didn't have a cell phone when I was a kid, you know, I didn't have a cell phone until I started driving, but you know, are there still parents like that? Like they don't have a freaking TV at home?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Granted, I don't even watch TV anymore, but
I'm not even mad. I'm actually kind of jealous, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because those kids could probably carry on a conversation with you and not be like, hey.
Maybe. I don't know.
It's a different time.
It is a different time. I don't know. I was just curious.
I think we should start a Going Dark movement. We're going to keep the podcast, but just get rid of everything else.
I'd probably be okay with that. You know, maybe go to the library and upload our stuff. Or, you know.
I'm still going to have my MacBook.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
I'm just not going to get on Facebook.
Facebook's terrible now.
I know. I'm on Twitter or X or whatever. And I'm like, I just spent.
What is Twitter X?
No, it's X now. It's not Twitter anymore.
It's called X?
Yeah.
Oh.
But I sit there and I'm like, why am I looking at politicians argue with each other? Why do I like it so much?
I don't know, dude. I'm so checked out of the whole political thing now. I used to watch the news every day. I don't care. You know why? Because whatever they're going to do is whatever they're going to do. And I feel like.
I get that, but they also want everybody to think that. So there's just they just do whatever they want.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even care anymore.
I think
I really don't.
I think not that many people really paid attention to politics, including me, until COVID. And then it became like a game show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
You had nothing to do but watch what politicians were doing.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
COVID was a weird time.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's gone.
Yeah.
Or at least the funding for it is.
The blood clots aren't.
That's true. That's true.
Moon landing's okay. Blood clots aren't.
I don't know. I just don't even care anymore.
Yeah. Brought to you by
AstraZeneca.
No, what's the blood clot med I'm thinking of?
Like that causes them or gets rid of them?
That gets rid of them.
Like Lovenox?
Yeah. Brought to you by Lovenox.
You probably have to add that out.
This wasn't brought to you by Lovenox. Yeah. All right, Timmy. Well, I think we should wrap it up here.
It's getting hot out here in the Beat Laboratory.
Thank you guys. If you followed this long, all 2 of you, we really appreciate you listening. We're outside right now, but hopefully soon, if we actually start working on it, our studio will be up and running. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, huh?
Yeah, I had fun.
Yeah. We might stay out here. I don't know. I like it. But we're going to get some more guests, so it's going to be a little cramped for out here. So we're going to get a big table. Try to get some more guests that are more higher caliber than us. Talk to you guys a little bit.
Shouldn't be hard.
No. But like always, thank you for following along, liking, subscribing. We really appreciate you guys. So honestly, thank you.
Thanks, y'all.
Later.
Later.